Star Wars is no longer flying off the shelves, and it's no longer streaming at high levels all across Disney Plus and in retail spaces. So, what is to happen? What's the ace that could be found up Kathleen Kennedy's sleeve? Well, none other than Knights of the Old Republic, a video game story, if you will, and they will try to bring it to your screen soon to make sure that they save face and keep Star Wars in a retail space. Hello folks, and welcome back to the channel that is changing hearts and minds simply by telling the truth one video at a time and 4 times a day is what we do. We love doing it, folks. The Hollyweirds can't understand how we keep up the pace, but we do it, folks, because of you. You drive everything, and we ask only that you click the like button. Today, we're dropping by Forbes, where they're telling us that Kathleen Kennedy is ready to forge a new path ahead, but it could be to destroy the last remaining part of Star Wars that people love. All right, folks, something else that might be beyond parody. Take a look at this. It's out of Forbes, and it is by Paul Wannabe Mendelsohn Tassi. It says Disney may be making a Knights of the Old Republic show next. And I'm here to tell you, we've got some stuff to explain why they're doing this. You do not want to go anywhere. Disney Star Wars TV is drifting around rather nebulously at present, but it may take a big swing at something different if a new report is to be believed. This is from insider Daniel Richtman. You know, I've noticed Tassie never cites me. Come on, Tassie. We're buddies. We're pal. We're amigos. Come on, buddy. This is from insider Daniel Richtman. No, Tassie, don't do it. Where he says Lucasfilm's developing a show set during Knight of the Old Republic era. This echoes something Kathleen Kennedy said back in 2019, acknowledging that something was happening with Knights of the Old Republic, often called KOTOR, but we haven't had any real specifics since then. Now, I guess we have a report of a TV show, at least. Tassie says, Star Wars TV is in a weird place. To recap, The Mandalorian is apparently about to end with the first actual Star Wars movie since 2019's Rise of Skywalker, which, by the way, if I'm recalling correctly, we were at least near the front, if not the very first to report that The Mandalorian was going to end and they were literally going to turn season 4 into a movie. And that was going to be it. Jonas, did we have exclusive on that? I can't ever remember with these things anymore.
I think we were. If we weren't the first, we were pretty close to the first on that.
Tom is often at the lead too, so we always have to say Midnight's Edge may have beat us to the ball, but we try to stay ahead of it. I don't remember. Ahsoka is getting a season 2, but is likely a full 3 years after season 1. In other words, Ahsoka's just drifting. Nobody knows what's going on with Ahsoka. They're not making it yet.
Much like the show itself, kind of drifts story-wise.
Yeah, who would have ever thought the production of Ahsoka is slower than Thrawn's ship leaving the planet? It seemed impossible. Andor is returning for season 2 this year, but that's a hard ending. And remember, folks, they had planned to do, 5-6 seasons of Andor? That's why it cost $600 million. Because it was supposed to be these, tons of seasons. So they did all this development of it. 2 seasons. The ratings are so bad. There's nothing in the works regarding new episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi or the Book of Boba Fett. The Acolyte was canceled without getting a season 2. And now we've found out, and we reported on this, that Kathleen Kennedy and the crazy folks at Lucasfilm, their plan apparently with Leslie was to have The Acolyte be a 3-season series that would then have a movie finale. Good Lord.
Oh my.
They believed that.
They didn't have enough plot for season 1. Let's just be honest.
They were going to be carried by Yoda. Skeleton Crew is still ongoing and has received a lot of praise, but viewership appears low and it still has a $136 million budget. It's unclear if it's performing well enough to return. Paul, let me make this as clear as I can. No, it doesn't. It hasn't even. Has it been on Nielsen once?
I don't think it's cracked any top 10, including the streaming originals top 10. The only top 10 that it has cracked is the fake one that's on Disney Plus's front page.
Right. So that's game over. That's game over. It's done. It's over. Knights of the Old Republic show may be able to bridge a gap between Disney needing to get out of the Skywalker era more. Oh yeah, because we got to get away from those darn Skywalkers. We used those Skywalkers so much and they were so darn successful. We really got to get away from them so we can branch out to something new. B, something that has more roots in Star Wars history and lore than the recently created High Republic, the setting of the Acolyte, aka something that was actually successful that we can destroy again. Hey, Star Wars, we're out of stuff that was actually good that we can destroy, except for Knights of the Old Republic. We've wiped the floor. We've razed it to the ground. Everything else. This is all we've got left. Let's go there. That's the message from Tassie. Let's pause there. We'll read the rest in a moment. Panel, your thoughts on the idea that Knights of the Old Republic is next, coming to a Disney Plus subscriber near you.
Won't matter to me because I'm pretty much out of Star Wars at this point in time, unless I am forced to watch it for charity.
I think you're pretty much representative of the entire population at this point. X-Wing was on Valiant Renegades live stream on Sunday, and he made a really good point that I caught there. He said that Skeleton Crew is basically just decent sci-fi that has a bunch of kids in it. It's not even Star Wars. Like, the Force is in it technically. It's owned by the people who own Star Wars, but that's the closest thing that we've come to good Star Wars in some time, is a show that just happens to be sci-fi that isn't downright awful, whether or not it appeals to the audience who currently wants to watch a movie starring Luke Skywalker with a laser sword.
It is it's something to see for sure that Star Wars is where it is right now. And they're running out of stuff. I mean, they're out of stuff to destroy, but they'll have a go at it with Knights of the Old Republic. Here's the rest of the article. It says, when you say Knights of the Old Republic to a long-term Star Wars fan, it's a series of video games that come to mind. KOTOR 1 and 2, and eventually the Old Republic MMO. The KOTOR games in particular are beloved by gamer fans, but there's nothing here that indicates this would be a direct adaptation of those, simply something set in that time period. Oh, good. Definitely good. Yeah. Make sure not to take something very successful and then do an adaptation. We definitely need Lucasfilm to make something all brand new. Definitely. And of course, there are a lot of things that happen in that time period. Mainly, it would be the only time we've seen in Star Wars cinematic history where the Sith are running rampant rather than there just being a couple at a time. Now, here's what I would say about this. And we'll have to get Lorne Connor's thoughts in the Skeleton Crew review we're going to do. But this is the last remaining era that Lucasfilm hasn't ruined. This is the last untouched place in Star Wars space that they haven't gone in and completely destroyed the canon. This is it. This is all they've got left. And it's just fascinating me. They're like, we got to get in there and really get some stuff going. We got to do some stuff with the KOTOR area, with the Old Republic, because the High Republic was what they thought they were going to use, right? The High Republic is where all the new stuff was going to be. And just like we said, by the way, about a year ago, you can watch as the High Republic now is being phased out.
Okay. I have to ask a question here, a Star Wars lore question, and I don't know if we've got the right set of people here for me to ask this question.
Erica, you're on the hook as our resident Star Wars guru. Go ahead.
The High Republic, is that right? But the Acolyte happened right before the Old Republic, right? Or is that supposed to be just the Republic? I'm getting really tired of the eras being named after the different republics. So the New Republic is supposed to be what's happening during the sequel trilogy. The Empire is before that. Is the Old Republic not what we saw during the Anakin Skywalker movies?
Jonas, I'm glad you asked that.
Because the High Republic, which is supposed to be what we just saw the end of, they still are refusing to admit what a Sith is.
25,000 years ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the dawn of the Jedi began. Then, about after that era, then they had the Old Republic. 500 years-ish before the movies start, you've got the High Republic. So you go from Dawn of the Jedi, which that's the movie they're going to ruin. That's the era they're going to ruin with James Mangold if they get a shot at it. It goes to Old Republic. Then it goes to High Republic. That's about a 500-year span.
The High Republic's up in smoke, man. Yeah, man.
Oh, man. You've got then you go to the movies, right? Then you get the New Republic, and then I'm not sure what comes after the New Republic. I don't know if anybody knows that.
I feel like the High Republic is what they call the writer's room currently, when they're sitting around and they have no idea what they're going to do. So they're all
I'm so tired of them naming these things after eras that it doesn't make sense to me in any way. And a lot of the chat is saying the Old Republic is the stuff that was like 4,000 years before that, like the Ulic Keldroma, like Old Republic. So the era where Mon Mothma is in charge of things and is actually there, that is just the Republic. That's nothing. That's so weird to me. That seems like...
You mean when the movies take place?
Yeah, when the movies take place. 1, 2, and 3. Episodes 1, 2, and 3. Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones.
They'll usually call that the Fall of the Jedi or something along those lines.
But they're saying now that the High Republic was whatever this mess was, where what's his junk? The guy with the ponytail that showed up in what is his name? The guy that they messed up his birthday for the Acolyte.
Oh, I know. Oh, darn it. No, I can't think of
the pink guy with the veiny head.
Kai Adimundi.
Kai Adimundi, that's it. Sorry. Usually I know that. I was sick recently. Anyways, he is still alive. So they very much put this on the beginning part of the lore here for the prequel trilogy and on the tail end of whatever they're calling the High Republic here. So these things are still running into each other in a way that makes this very obnoxious. So they're saying that the Sith haven't been around and they're resurging in the Acolyte, but now they're going to go to the Old Republic and they could actually have something cool on their hands if they have the Jedi be a minority in this space. If you have powerful evil forces that have to be overcome, all of a sudden you've got yourself a Star Wars show. But I don't think that current Lucasfilm, is capable of doing a show where the evil people are actually evil and the good people are trying to do good in a situation where they are where the odds are stacked against them. That actually sounds like a good story, and therefore I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think they know that they themselves, the writers, I mean, currently Kathleen Kennedy's regime, they are the evil people in a sense. I don't really mean that they're legitimately evil, but obviously, but still, I mean, here, I think that if they wanted to revamp Star Wars and actually have something successful on their hands, they should recast the parts of Han, Luke, Leia, and all the rest of them, and let us see what happened during the time of the Mandalorian, if you will. Let's see what happened right after with those characters, specifically when Han and Leia get married and they go. I want to see the stories in the gap, the time period of the Mandalorian, right after Return of the Jedi. But they need to recast, and because several of the actors have passed, and we don't have that anymore. And it's okay to recast these actors. It's okay to have a new face who is Luke Skywalker. As a matter of fact, I'm okay with not seeing Mark Hamill anymore as that character because I want a redeemable actor to play the character. Same with Han Solo and Princess Leia, and all the rest of them. I would be very interested in seeing Star Wars actually see more of the Skywalkers. I would love to know how the heck Luke became the horrible riffraff that he was at the end of those stories. But I want to see him have a journey.
Do you want answers on that, or do you actually want to see that?
On the other hand, that would turn me off. I'd rather not see somebody recast get away from the Skywalkers. We have a whole big galaxy here to explore in so many different time periods we haven't. And that's always what they end up doing is boxing themselves in. But The Mandalorian was one of the few times where it felt like it wasn't completely boxed in until it was.
But the problem is they just destroy them. Yeah. They just, whether it's legacy or new characters, even if they get a hit, they destroy it as soon as they can. Like they're addicted to destroying these characters. Now, I want to ask this, and Tom, you give me your thoughts on it. One of the reasons we're hearing that they might be doing something like this is because they're trying to find some project that they can attach for Star Wars that they can merchandise, because we're hearing that the merchandising side of Star Wars is in collapse. And it's actually getting to the point where they could get kicked out of some retail space that's significant. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But Tom, what are your thoughts on whether or not they could merchandise Knights of the Old Republic?
I mean, I guess that's one of the last areas that's left that they haven't really exploited. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'd be more concerned with the fact that their merchandising has collapsed. And I've noticed at my Walmart, yeah, the Star Wars section keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller, while the Jurassic and Godzilla sections get bigger and bigger and bigger. So yeah, it's just a fact they need to come to terms with. And now they're in the same place Star Trek is, where they've destroyed their classic stuff as much as their new stuff. So I don't really think anything they bring out is going to make any difference. And that's kind of where I was saying with Ron. I mean, like, I get it. Some people want to see Sebastian Stan take on as a young Luke Skywalker, what have you, which
he's
fine,
as crazy
whatever,
as Mark
but,
is.
Huh?
He's as crazy as Mark is.
Right. But at the end of the day, it has less to do with that to me than it is like, I don't even buy classic Star Wars material anymore just because I'm so turned off.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, I at least used to buy, you know, Darth Vader and Yoda stuff here and there, even throughout the sequel era. And even after Force Awakens, I bought some of that stuff too, you know, before things kind of turned completely south.
Before the dark time.
Yeah, but even during The Mandalorian, I found myself buying some Baby Yoda stuff. But after that kind of all wore off, at that point, I was kind of just done. Like, especially the way things went with that, I was just kind of like done. So
I will tell you,
bought anything since.
When I'm in the parks and when I'm in Hollywood Studios, I go to Galaxy's Edge if I want a quiet space and I need to be alone. Because
it's need a quiet space to spit out your blue milk.
Yeah, I think the vast majority of the once great Star Wars audience is checked out. I really do, and I'm in that category. I would love to care, because I remember a time when I so look forward to Star Wars stuff. I remember even in the early 2000s, the prequel trilogy, I really wanted to know about the backstories of all the different Jedi. I thought that was interesting conceptually, to see a time when the Jedi actually were at their strongest before the fall and before they were taken down. And I do think there were a lot of missteps with the prequel trilogy, but the story was very, very interesting. When they skipped forward from Return of the Jedi to the Rey crap, I was like, why did they skip? And then the biggest thing to me, the biggest moment when I started to go, wait, what was that? It was when I watched The Force Awakens, and they had the actors back for Han, Luke, and Leia, and they did not share the screen together, not even one time, all three of them. And I was like, what the heck's going on? And it was the biggest missed opportunity I've ever seen, and it's been downhill ever since then.
If I was a Disney shareholder, I would have been livid at, you just find some excuse to get all three on the screen at the exact same moment. And they had that chance when they had all of the money. They had all that chance when they had all of them alive at the same time. And instead they screwed around and they messed with the canon. And for some reason, Han Solo is a forced ghost, but not a forced ghost. It is the biggest missed opportunity of the last 10 years that they didn't do something that actually honored the original trilogy, other than bringing back John Williams, because I don't think those films would have been anywhere near as successful.
And really,
without Williams.
Did he really bring anything to the table that was new? Like, I really couldn't hum any of the new themes like I could, you know, Duel of Fates.
Yeah, the closest I could get is Rey's theme.
Even that's really kind of...
It's background music, honestly.
So it just shows you how uninspired Williams was by this, basically, is my point. Yeah.
I was looking to see, and I haven't found anything yet. I was looking to see if we ever covered Knights of the Old Republic coming, if it was in development. Because I just feel like we covered that at some point. But I don't remember if we had this scoop or not, and if it's just being...
I think it was you guys. It might have even... Because it's so long ago now that it might even been before you guys were on YouTube, and I think we had you as the source where the scoop is a possibility, is why you're getting
That might be the case.
Because, yeah, this was one of the oldest things I remember you guys kind of, you know, giving us as a scoop. We might not even have had you by name at that point. I don't even remember. Like, it's been that long. Like, this is an old story. right? This has been the plan for a long time. Like, we've all known this is where it was headed.
But they didn't want to do it, Tom.
Sorry,
Tom,
I apologize for language, but yeah.
But Tom, they didn't want to do it because they wanted to invent their own thing with the High Republic, right? So this is them now having to accept that they failed, because this is what everybody knew they should do, but they didn't want to do. They wanted to do High Republic because they could create their own little, wokeification in there and not touch what had come before it. Anyway. This baby to bed. This video is over. Turn off the lights, but not quite yet, folks, because we do ask one final thing before we say goodbye, and that is, would you consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it and stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Also greatly appreciated. Anytime you would like to share this out on your favorite social media platforms, well, we would love that, and we'd also love to hear your thoughts. Folks, drop a comment down below and use that beautiful mind of yours. If you would not mind, we'd love to know what you're thinking. Also, if you would like to become a member of the channel, it's as simple as clicking the join button. It is the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of new, cool, exclusive information. Folks, until the next time we have the honor of spending time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.